Today we're talking my top 5 rides at Islands of Adventure. Let's get into it. So Islands of Adventure was the first park that I fell in love with. I mean, in 2000, way back in the year 2000, at the turn of this century. Damn, it sounds like a long time ago. And it is. I went to Islands of Adventure for the very first time. So less than a year old was Islands of Adventure, which is crazy to think about. But I went there, and it was still OG Park, right? Lost Continent, Dueling Dragons, all the things. And there's so many things that have come and gone, and that park's changed a good bit. There's still a lot of the originals, but a lot of things have changed and evolved. Specifically, 2 of the top 5 rides, in my opinion, at Islands of Adventure, and really Universal as a whole, at least until Epic opens. But today I wanted to talk about my top 5 rides at Islands of Adventure. And we're going to start off with number 1. I lie. We're going to start off with number 5. So number 5 for me is the Jurassic Park River Adventure. Now, some things that I love about it is that it's classic, right? It is Jurassic Park at its finest. You come through the doors, do. It's awesome. It's like the feeling that you get on that ride is just cool. It's not in the best shape today, but I still think back, and it's the nostalgia, and we all get into that, right? It's still such a great ride, even though some of the pieces don't work like they used to. Sometimes the Ultrasaur in the lagoon is there. Sometimes it's not, and it's an empty pad. Sometimes the other animatronics work. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes the little dinosaurs that are going back and forth eating up the jacket, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the audio when you come into the raptor paddock is insanely ear-piercingly loud, and sometimes you can barely hear it. The box that comes down as you go up the lift, sometimes it drops, sometimes it doesn't. The T-Rex always works. Never have I seen it not work. I've seen it not move, but I've always heard the sound, and I've always seen the mouth move, but sometimes it doesn't come your way. But to me, having ridden that ride as many times as I have and been stopped on it and spent 10 or 15 minutes at the top of the lift, I've done all those things over the years, it still holds a very special place in my heart. And it's one of those great rides. It's like the first big thrill ride I did that was a water flume ride that was just themed to perfection. And so it became one of those rides that just has a very special place in my overall rankings of rides and attractions in a park that I love more than just about any other park. Actually, a park that I love more than any park in the world. And I've been to a few now, not as many as I want to, and that could change. But currently, Islands of Adventure is my favorite park in the world that I've been to. So some things I'd love to see change. As much as it pains me to say this, I wish we could get the Jurassic World version that Universal Hollywood has, or at least an update to where some of what they have is in place. I like the Mosasaur Cove, that thing, it's got the screens and all kinds of coolness in the Jurassic World version. Plus it would fit in with Velocicoaster and the Raptor Encounter with Blue, and I think would just fit a little bit better with the amount of space and the huge amount of space that Velocicoaster has taken up, even though it's really compact. But I do think that Jurassic Park could be updated to Jurassic World and be a little more contemporary. And that's a tough one for me to say out loud because I do truly love Jurassic Park, and I think it's cool to have both. But for continuity, I think it would make more sense for it to be Jurassic World. Now, number 4 is one that blew my mind the first time I rode this thing. I never experienced a ride quite like it, and that's The Adventures of Spider-Man. I love this ride to this day. I love the old version. I love the new high-res version. I just love the ride, the Easter eggs, Stan Lee around. I love that it's a nod back to the 90s cartoons and the shows. I love the fact that Universal still owns it so that gets to live on in a park. When I walk into it, it's like stepping into my childhood when I walk into Marvel Superhero Island as a whole. But definitely when you go through the queue for Spider-Man, you're in the Daily Bugle. It's just cool. The artwork, everything, the style of the animation is all that throwback Spider-Man that I love and honestly still watch to this day because I go back and watch the 90s Spider-Man animated series and still love it. And that ride is just, it's just classic. I love every bit of it, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. I don't want to see it updated with the new people, the new villains, any of that stuff. I just want it to stay the way it is because it's a great ride. Some people think it's a little jerky. I can't argue with that, but it's intended to be. There's parts of it where you're being yanked around. It's a whole lot better, even though it's older. I think it's a whole lot better than the Transformers ride over at Universal Studios. But overall, it is my number 4 in this park. So it holds a pretty high spot, but not the highest. And so number 3 on my list probably won't surprise many people, but it's the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is without a doubt the roller coaster that made me an enthusiast. It made me start chasing roller coaster thrills. I'll never forget the first time I stepped foot in the Islands of Adventure. I hear the port of entry music and I'm walking down towards the lagoon and I hear the roar and I hear that launch and I watch that train shoot from the tunnel of Incredible Hulk, into the barrel roll, down into that cobra roll over the lagoon, into the backflip, under the walkway, and I was forever changed. I got to admit, I became someone who couldn't get enough of riding roller coasters. And I didn't get to ride the Hulk for another 8 years after that. And then from then it was 10 years until I went back. And thankfully I've ridden it hundreds and hundreds of times since then. Since COVID in 2020, I've been a pass holder and I've ridden it a lot. And I'm happy that they decided to keep it, completely retrack it, a handful of years ago. I think it was a great decision to keep that legacy of the ride going, keep that visual in the park, which is just unbelievable. And I love it. I love the Incredible Hulk. The restraints are not my favorite anymore. As technology progresses, rides get a little more comfortable. The engineering behind them gets better. All of those seat designs and everything, they just get better. And we'll go through that as we get to number 2 and number 1 on this list. But I do wish that this B&M coaster had the vest restraints. If you're a coaster enthusiast, you know what I mean. But the Incredible Hulk is still really fun. It's just depending on where you sit in the train, you might get your ears beat up. Even so, fun ride, intense, B&M at its finest, and the OG thrill ride that still exists inside of Islands of Adventure. So number 2 may surprise some of you. Unless you're looking over my shoulder right now, it won't. Number 2 is Hagrid's, not Velocicoaster. Hagrid's is my number 2 because it's themed incredibly. It's not the most thrilling, but it is still thrilling. It's got a bunch of launches, 7 launches to be exact, and it is a very unique ride. The animatronics are incredible. The surprises that I won't give away if you haven't ridden it, they're awesome. And it's Harry Potter. The queue is incredible. But it does sit on the plot of land for one of my original, just loves, which was Dueling Dragons. And I love that in the queue, they still have a nod, the Dragon Club. They still have some nods to the original queue and the ride that was there to open it, to open Islands of Adventure. But Hagrid's is wonderful. It's a very comfortable ride. It's a fun ride. There's a lot of things that you just wouldn't expect to happen that happen, and it's a blast. And it's definitely the most popular and definitely the most packed ride between both parks. People run to Hagrid's every single morning for rope drop. And for good reason. It's one of those rides that just works for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a coaster enthusiast. Maybe a little too thrilling for people who are scared of roller coasters. But generally speaking, it's the most accessible roller coaster that exists inside the parks, with the exception of some of the kiddie coasters. But it's intense enough, but not too intense. It's fun enough, but not too crazy and too fast. It's got great theming. If you're a Harry Potter fan, it's untouchable. It's just beautiful. And it's just wonderful. It's fun. And it won't freak you out too much. But that's number 2. That's Hagrid's. And then again, number 1, if you're watching this, you look over my shoulder and you see the poster. Should be no surprise. It's Velocicoaster. The Jurassic World Velocicoaster is without a doubt, not even close, my favorite roller coaster. It's my favorite ride. It's my favorite coaster. It's themed the best. It will always be my number one. I got to watch it come all the way up, be built. I see the construction. Got to see the construction in person with as many times as I was going to the parks in 2020 and 2021. It's themed around something I enjoy. Love Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World movies. And it pushes the envelope when it comes to thrills. 150-foot top hat. 70 mile an hour a second launch. The first part is an airtime machine, so it just feels like you keep getting thrown out of your seat. And then the second part just gets it, right? 70 miles an hour, straight up, straight down, 100-foot zero-G stall, the Mosasaurus roll, all that packed into a very small spot, and some incredible creative decisions were made with this. The queue is awesome. Everything about it is it's just perfection in my eyes. It's got the quick turns, it's got the airtime, it's got the speed, it's got the theme. It's just awesome. And it's such a well-built coaster because it is silky smooth. It's one of those coasters that you just don't expect what it delivers because it's not the fastest, it's not the tallest, it's not the most intense, but it is without a doubt a complete package. And my favorite ride at Islands of Adventure. So we're going to continue this, and I'm going to do top 5 rides of Universal Studios coming up. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you don't miss it. Let me know. Connect with me on X or Instagram. Leave comments on the show and tell me what your favorite ride is at Islands of Adventure. We'll see you in the next episode.